So good evening, everybody. We have few more minutes to start the session.
Good evening, sir.
I hope you can hear me. If you can't, please flag and say no. So I'll understand that you can't hear me. Okay. So there was a Excel sheet I had shared in the group before the start of the session. I hope you have downloaded it and saved it for use. We will talk about it today. I know that there are lots of various types of people, not lots, but various different stages of financial situation. So we will talk. And then if you need to ask, please remember that it's only when you stop me and ask questions that we will actually learn. And it's not just that you will learn, but it's also very much that the whole group will learn. Maybe a nuance, maybe a tricky question, whatever. But listening to others and answers of others' questions is always worthwhile. So, if everybody can hear, we have another 3 minutes to go. You're welcome to unmute right now and talk, but when class starts, please be on mute. And Sindhu, Shesha Anantaram, Vikas, switch on your video, keep it on right through the class, please. This is a courtesy to others. And you're not following that while others are being courteous to you is not acceptable. Great. All right. So since there are no questions, I presume that we can start the class a couple of minutes early. Please be informal. This is not a school or college classroom. This is one for all adults. Hardworking adults. Okay. It's 7 o'clock. Good evening. Welcome to our first session. We're going to set the base in this session for all the work that we are going to do over the next month or two. I have a Zoom user who is not going to be admitted because the name is not there. So one of the things that we are going to look at during the course of this entire course is where all we trip up in our financial planning. It's not just about stocks.
Sir, no sound.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Bhavna. I have a person who is not named himself. It's a Zoom user. I'm afraid such people do not deserve to be in class. Great. So let's get started. First thing you will want to know is what are you going to get in this course? I mean, what's an overview of what you're going to possibly gain in attending this course? So when you go into investment in stocks, what is it? That is the first question that, oh God, is getting to be a little. What stock do I buy? I mean, there are 4,000-5,000 stocks listed on the NSE, and a few of them who are only on NSE or only on Bombay Stock Exchange, which are the two major exchanges in the country. And I mean, how do I go around finding out which stock, where to look, how to do? So we will be going through one approach. There are hundreds and hundreds of approaches. So there is nothing sacrosanct about it. But we will look at where to look to pick stocks. I mean, should I look at the tipsters? Should I look at this one-click, what do you call it? One-click apps. You know, there's an app that gives you a basket. And I was very curious. I said, wow, someone is going to do the job for me. Why should I bother? So I looked into that basket, some app. I don't now recollect. It was some time ago when they introduced and they were advertising like crazy.
Small case.
Small case. Right. So I looked at that this thing. So I went into, and they have different small cases. You know, they'll say this small case for this type of portfolio, that small case for that type of portfolio, and this and that and all that. Very lovely. I mean, the packaging is was extremely impressive. So I said, okay, let me go look at what are the stocks. So I picked in random one or two small cases, as they're called. And I think there were some 5 stocks or something like that. So I checked out each stock. Then I went to the next small case. Then I checked out that. And so on and so forth. The beauty is there was one consistent trend. One of the stocks, if not sometimes there was actually 2 stocks that I would not touch with a barge pole. And so obviously the company has to make profits, it has to be able to survive and so on and so forth. So I can't blame them. I mean, after all, they're giving you a free service. Now, there is nothing free about anything in life. There is no free lunch. So if you invested in a small case, it contains, Sindhu, second time I'm calling out. Please switch on your video, else I will need to remove you from the session. This is not this thing, it is mandatory. Please switch on your video. So there will be one or two plants in that basket. Now, fine, if you can sort out which is a plant, which is not a plant, then it's good for you. You can definitely invest. But you will notice that the what shall I say? The yield of the basket is compromised. So there is a big question for everybody where to look so that you can pick stocks that are not fly-by-night operators and so on and so forth, but are able to give you a decent safety, if I may say so, within the ambits of stock exchange. And equity is risk, full stop. So risk management. Now, that's one of the things that we are going to look in this course. And I can assure you that you will have so many even in the basket that I'm going to suggest. And by the way, mine are all public domain baskets. They are not JS's baskets or anything like that. How to approach selecting a stock to investigate. That doesn't mean you have to buy it. Okay. The next thing is when to buy the stock. Now, all your pundits in the market will say, don't time the market. It is about time in the market. Everyone will say, my God. Then why is it that people who buy when markets are roaring, then are saddled with portfolios that are negative, 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 negative? When to buy is the most important. For example, and I'll give you a common sense example, which you will, Rajni, I'll come to you. I'll give you a comment. I will come to you.
Record. I got a pop-up saying a participant has enabled closed captioning. Who can see this transcript recording on?
Okay.
The transcript from this meeting may be saved and shared with apps and others by participants with relevant permissions based on the settings configured for this meeting.
Right. And that's me.
Okay.
But thanks for flagging it. Thank you for flagging. I appreciate it, by the way. When will you go and buy mangoes? You will go in the season when you get the best prices, like right now. You know, last 1 month, we have been eating mangoes as if there is no tomorrow. You're not going to go buy mangoes when it is completely out of season. You will get a few, but just remember what will be the quality, what will be the price. You'll end up getting stomachache. So, when to buy is as important as what to buy. And if that is the case, when to sell is equally important. If you don't know when to sell, what's the point? I mean, you're here to make a profit, right? Hopefully not short term, because that will add to your income and you'll just pay higher income tax. Hopefully it will be long term. Hopefully it will be very long term, as the case may be, and we'll see. But there is also very important that if you want to be invested in the market, and that's time in the market, as the pundits will say, you will need to know when to sell and buy back. Because as we will see, what is the stock market? Stock market is simply a few million people coming every day saying, I want to buy this, I want to buy that. And a few million people coming and say, I want to sell this, I want to sell it. Does it mean the company has gone up or down? No, not at all. The company has, all prices, especially in the short term, are not driven by the fundamentals of the company. The stock market is driven by two forces. Forces that want to buy and forces that want to sell. Full stop. Now, you may have a great company making, 200% net profit after tax. But nobody knows about your company. The stock price in the market will continue to languish. If you issued shares at 10 rupees of face value, it will continue to be at 12, 14, 18, go down to 8 when one big buyer just dumps it, and so on. So when you buy a share in the stock market, you are merely buying mangoes and wanting to keep them for a time when they become more valuable. Now, when you start eating the mangoes, you'll know whether the quality is good or not. Yes. But when you buy a share, it's going to go up and down. And it will go up and down based on what? Number of people who want to buy, and the quantity they want to buy, and the number of people who want to sell, and the quantity they are willing to sell. If the sellers are in minority, guess what happens? The prices will go up. If the sellers are in majority, the prices will go down. That's the very basics of any free market. That's called the stock exchange is the classic free market. That you really know what value you're getting. I mean, you can say I got value for my money blindly, because at that point in time, the number of people who wanted to buy and the number of people who wanted to sell determined the price. True value of the share. I didn't say company. I'm not talking about the true value of the company. We are not private equity players, venture funds or PE funds that you are going to start valuing the company. Not at all. We are merely, and let's know our station in life, that we are merely retail investors. Even the biggest of us is a retail investor. You can't move the market. If you go to sell, the market doesn't plunge. And if you go to buy, it doesn't shoot up either. So you need to know when to sell and buy back. Now, this will be dependent on your financial goals. We'll be seeing that a little later. But when you are going to buy a stock, you need to know why you're buying it, for what purpose you're buying it. Is it for, okay, let's just encash the next 20 rupees increase. Let's take the money and go and keep it in the bank. We'll see what happens when you keep money in the bank, when you buy property, all of that. So, and we have a BIC 2023 group, WhatsApp group. The purpose of the group is so that you can post your questions, your comments, your suggestions, or even reply to somebody else's questions. There is no such thing that only I have to reply. Sometimes I may not even see the question. So please remember that the separate group that we have got for the class is meant to discuss specific subjects that arise out of the course, but will need great length of time to discuss. And so we don't want to have each session for a few hours at a time. So anybody before I move to the next slide? Any questions? Please raise your hand. Yeah, Bhavna, unmute yourself and
Yeah. So when to sell and when to sell and buy back. I guess I did this mistake in my portfolio.
correct. See, but Bhavna, I tell you what, it's a valuable lesson. Don't regret it.
No,
If
I'm
you
not
learn,
regretting. Yes, sir.
yeah,
Yes, sir.
don't regret making mistakes. You will only learn if you make mistakes. If you have made no mistake, then I think you are in la la land. You're learning nothing. Now, Bhavna will never forget this mistake in her whole lifetime. That's how I have not forgotten these mistakes, because I too have paid through my nose in losses. If somebody tells you that I have not lost anything, Arey Baba, you're God, thank you very much, but I'd rather deal with human beings. That's what I would say. No, the thing about in fact, it takes guts. For example, when Bhavna posted it, how many of you would have even thought of writing something like that? I don't think even one other person would have. They'd rather keep quiet and say, chalo, chalo, revive. Looking good and avoiding looking bad is the only game in town. I'll say that again. Looking good and avoiding looking bad is the only game in town. No, that's okay. You can play that game. But if you do that, guess who's going to shall I say, cough up the cash? It's going from your account, whether you like it or you don't like it. No. You say, no, I will not talk about all that. I will not going to disclose, oh, I'm so-and-so, I'm a great guy, I'm CXO of this company and that company. How can I say this in front of everybody? All right, okay. As long as you're ready to pay for it. I mean, whether you are ready to pay for it or not, you're going to pay for it. You might as well learn what is that one lesson I missed. And like Bhavna said, when to sell and buy back. And by the way, that is related to your financial goals, and I'll show you how. When we come to that stage, I will demonstrate live chart to show you that. Okay, anybody else? Anything else before I proceed to the next slide? All right. From time to time, I will be sharing, some concepts, distinctions, some actions, which I think are relevant to that particular instance in the group where something comes up, which I think is directly or indirectly related. So I will do that in the group. And frequently, especially when there is any major reversal, either up or down, I will generally ask or I will post what I think is something that the group should keep in mind at that point in time. Okay? Now you can take it, leave it, that's your choice. These are my, what shall I say, suggestions. So let's get started. That was the overview of what we'll get. I'm sure everybody has got a broking account, online broking account with a demat account, and so on and so forth. So if you don't have that, then I request you call your banker, relationship manager, and ask him, saying, look, I'm interested in this. Now you walk me through what your bank has to offer, etc. So I know that there are lots of people here who have so much money, they don't have to do any budgeting. I would invite them to let go of such a opinion and still do the exercise. You know, budgeting is a painful exercise. Most people don't like to do it. So my request is, please keep aside that opinion and do it. So priority must be given to estimate living expenses. Okay, and that the Excel sheet I have shared is only a template. Please remember, you can customize it. If you got things that you want to put it in and so on, please do so. The Excel sheet is not a 100% solution. Okay, Raj Shekhar says he has got his profile photo as the timetable. I don't know. Okay. At least he could put his photo profile. All right. Please use that Excel spreadsheet. Please customize. Please add override items to suit your individual case. Avoid unexpected outflows that could easily have been foreseen when you applied your mind and your attention. Like I said, if you want knowledge, you have to pay with attention. Even if you pay 0 rupees, but you have to pay with attention. Unexpected outflows are an excuse people have, and they like to keep that so that, you know, they can say, Arey, I didn't know, I thought, you thought, everybody else thought. This is the typical point of failure, if I may say. Estimate the surpluses. So when you work it out, you will at least have some idea of what is your, by the way, do it monthly. Avoid trying to put annual figures. Supposing, for example, one of the things I have is a holiday. Now, holidays come once a year maybe, or maybe twice a year in my case. So these, by the way, I am on perpetual holiday, but then I have some outings or travels. So I can go as often as I want because I'm not working. Now, these are not unexpected. These can be thought out. And let's say my budget is, all right, I will go to Kodaikanal, my usual summer trip. That costs me roughly about 60,000-70,000 rupees. Let's say 1 lakh. Okay. No, let be real estate 60,000. All right, 60,000. 60,000 divided by 12 is your monthly expense. That amount of money you need to put out of your income so that when you want to go for a holiday, you are not drawing on your reserves. Estimate the surpluses, then estimate a rainy day requirement. Now, rain, you know that rains come once a year. You also know the rainy season. How come you can't see some glimpses of your own personal rainy day? For example, you know, your people who have babies, youngsters or children, you know that children are going to fall ill once a month for toddlers, or once in 3 months, something, cough, cold, blah, blah, blah. Estimate it. Put a figure, matter, roughly. Don't become too safe. And don't become too, forget it, man, no need. Similarly, you will estimate, and that's a separate session by itself, what is an investable surplus? That means I am talking of investable surplus from the point of view strictly from investing in equity, not from any other, not in any other asset. So anybody, any questions up to now? Good. There are different types of assets. And here is a short list. It is not comprehensive. You have, of course, land, buildings and flats. Then you have businesses. You have a business going on. And so you have certain, what shall I say, value in that business. Then you will have stocks, futures and options and etc. In the stock market. You have mutual funds, different types of mutual funds. You have bonds, different types of bonds. Corporate bonds and FDs. These are now gaining a lot of ground. ETFs, passive and active. Commodities. REITs. REITs is this real estate investment trust. By the way, I had a good look at this REITs because I was quite initially, I was quite attracted. Shall I say, oh, I can hold real estate by the click of a button. Not true. Not at all true. REITs are closed systems. You subscribe to a REIT when they open and they close it. A couple of them are also listed. Rarely, but they are listed. Yeah, Preeti, I'll come to you. But if you go to sell in the closed systems, guess who is going to dictate the price? The guys who run the REITs, not the market. Only the market listed REITs you can try and sell. Now, if you go and look at the depth of buys and sells, bids and offers in your brokerage, you can find out what is the depth. How many people are trying to sell? How many people are trying to buy? You will get the data real time on your screen. You'll find hardly anybody. So they are very illiquid. And illiquid is as bad as locked in. But they have a nice, what do you call it? Romantic feel. Instead of buying property and going through the hassle of all that, let me buy REITs. That's what I thought. But when I investigated, I said, no way I'm going to touch these people. They even decide what is the dividend you will get, how much they are going to keep. That's like any company, private limited company, unfortunately, not publicly limited listed company. So be careful about this REITs business. In the US, it is fantastic, but not yet in India. Then, of course, chit funds, then cash in lockers, under mattresses, under pillowcases, everything also. And then, of course, banks, including fixed deposits. Okay, Preeti, please unmute and talk.
Sir, first question, sir, what are ETFs?
Okay. ETF is an exchange traded fund. What does that mean? It is a fund which ETFs usually track the markets. Now you can have a Nifty ETF. That means the ETF will closely track the Nifty. You can have a Nifty property ETF. It will closely track the companies in the stock market which are classified as property. So that industry. So different industries have exchange traded funds which track the index of that industry or as a whole. Did you understand that?
So partly, like how do they work? I do not know. But yes, I understood that they work for different companies. So the second thing, while making an inventory of our assets, you've asked to point out land, buildings, flats. So like if they are ancestral, then also we would be listing them.
Are they yours now or not?
No, as of now, no, but then definitely I'll be the one who will be getting them.
वो जमाना जब आएगा ना तब देखेंगे.
Okay. And sir, FDs at two places, corporate bonds and FDs and bank including FDs, these FDs are different or they are the same fixed deposits
No,
only?
corporate bonds and FDs are totally different from bank bonds and FDs. Why? Tell me, Preeti.
So bank FDs are the ones that we go and ask them to issue us a fixed deposit slip. And these FDs must be market related.
No. So, what is the difference between a bank and any other corporate or company listed on the stock exchange? Hari, I'm coming to you.
Sir, if a bank gives an FD, it gives a fixed rate that it'll, by the time when they'll mature, they'll give a fixed rate of so and so percent.
Same thing with a corporate FD. What's the difference between a bank and a company? I didn't say FD. What's the difference between a bank and a company? HDFC Bank Limited, it's also a company.
Bank. So bank FDs. Sorry
No,
to
hold on.
interrupt.
No, don't interrupt. See, I know, you know, I know, and quite a few others here will know. My intention is that Preeti should never have this doubt again. And she will remember if she finds the answer. I will invite the class. Okay. Hold on. See, this is not your typical course. Next. No. I don't do it. That's why I said it may take 2 months, 3 months for our course to go on. But I assure you, for example, this question I will ask on another topic and then most of you will blink. So, Preeti, what's the difference between a bank and Reliance Industries? What is the difference between HDFC Bank and Reliance Industries?
So banks are partly government and partly
Okay, no, let me
public.
give you. No, they're all fully public listed, and they're owned by shareholders. Okay, that are listed. No, that's one difference. Okay, but I'm going to point out to a very fundamental thing. The bank is in the what business, Preeti?
Financial giving and taking money.
That's right. They deal with money. Reliance Industries is in what business?
The multiple businesses.
What are they?
As in,
Is it a bank?
no.
Do the deal? They give you loans and take back loans.
No.
So this is an industry. Now I have a company. Let's say I manufacture cars, like Mahindra and Mahindra, in which I have quite a lot of fixed deposits. Okay. No, that guy also has a financial company, I know. But then why is he asking for fixed deposits? Why is Shriram Transport Union, Shriram Finance asking for deposits? Shriram Finance is going to lend it not as money, but they are going to give a loan to people who are going to buy a truck. But Reliance Industries doesn't do that. So, and a bank is supervised, a scheduled bank is supervised by the Reserve Bank of India, and therefore it is also supervised by the Government of India. Reliance Industries is supervised by SEBI, Stock Exchange Board of India. SEBI. Now, SEBI's job is not to tell Reliance what to do, what not to do in their business. SEBI's control on companies comes with respect to the money they raise from the public, either through shares or any other way, bonds and etc. Tradable. They're two different businesses. Now you can give a bank says, I will only give you 6%. But Shriram Transport says, I'll give you 9.6%. But the risk is different. Shriram Transport can fail tomorrow more easily than
a bank.
HDFC Bank. So government will not let, they're too big to fail. So safety is a big difference. And because he is giving you safety, HD will say, I will give you maximum 6%. Take it or leave it. And he goes abroad and raises money through foreign bonds at 2%, 1%, 3%, and lends in India at 12%, 18%. So you have to understand the nature of business. That's why they are strict separately. Did I answer your question, Preeti?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Hari, please unmute yourself.
Can you hear me, Uncle?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so my question was, will gold also be included as a type of asset class in this list, or is it excluded for any particular reason? Gold and precious
A gold loan is a liability, not an asset.
Okay. No, you're not a loan also. Otherwise, investing to have gold.
No, if you invest in gold, then you may buy an ETF in gold, or you may actually buy gold. That is an asset.
Okay, okay.
That is an asset. But a gold loan is not an asset. It's a liability.
Not a loan, not a loan.
Did I answer your question, or is there anything else?
Yeah, so understood. Just gold in hand becomes an asset, but if you've taken a loan to buy gold, it's a liability.
Yes, correct. Anything else, Hari?
Oh, that was the question.
Okay. John, go ahead. Please unmute yourself.
Yeah, just a quick question. What exactly is the difference between stocks, equity, and commodities?
Oh.
Why are they separate, though you can trade them as usual?
Very good question. Very good question. Stocks you can buy and keep. As an individual, John, you and I can buy Reliance Industries and let it lie there in the demat. It belongs to me or you. Commodities, you can only buy futures and options because you are not a warehousing.
Okay.
You are not holding it. And you can therefore buy for a specific period of time. You can buy in the futures in the beginning of the series. By the end of the series, whether you sell it or not, it will be liquidated by the exchange. So it's a transient asset.
Okay.
Did you get the difference?
Kind of, more or less, but just
No,
sharpen
what
my
is
clarity.
what is
Just
the
to
less?
yeah.
What is the less?
Okay, just to sharpen my clarity, I think, for example, let's say if I'm buying, I believe oil is a commodity, right?
Yes,
Oil is a
yes.
commodity. Now, if I buy Indian Oil Corporation,
You're not
that would
buying
be a
oil.
stock. That
That's
would
a
be a
stock.
corporation. That's a stock,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
Okay, and commodities can only be done for trading in F&O.
No, you can go in. You can buy commodities in the MCX exchange.
In the exchange.
And
Okay.
yeah, there is an exchange for
Exchange.
commodities.
Okay.
But there
Got
you are only buying futures and options.
Options. Okay, got it.
Why? Because supposing you bought 100 crores of oil, knowing the oil price is going to go up, can you store it?
Not really. No.
No, you can't, because if you're going to store, you will need to be in the industry of storage of oils. That is a government regulated industry.
Got it,
You
sir.
can't just keep it in your house.
Got it, sir.
Great. Is it now 100% clear or only more or
Yeah.
less?
No. It's 100% clear now. Thank you.
Anything else, John?
Nothing for now. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Most welcome. Most welcome. Bhavna?
Yes,
Bolo.
sir. So you told about REITs in US, it's profitable. What is that, sir? Trust.
Because the trust laws, see, the Trust Act in India is an ancient act. They have tried to make some patchwork and this thing. But this REITs trust is governed by a separate act. And that act is a very one-sided, what shall I say, unfair act. If you are a minority shareholder in a REITs, you have no say. So what do people do? These big guys, who are the people who have come to the market with REITs? The really big builders. They have sponsored REITs because that's an arm's length from their company, which is a builder company or developer company. But the REITs is an arm's length because it's a separate trust. Now, there are some rules and regulations to be followed. Then what do? They raise money through REITs, which will then be funneled into the company because they control the REITs. Now, that aspect is a major risk. You might as well buy their flats. It's as bad a risk as that. If you ask me, I'm talking as a long-term investor. I'm not talking as a short-term investor. Whereas in the US, the regulations, they're more mature. After all, the US stock markets have been around much longer in a more advanced stage. Of course, it's also got its own pitfalls and everything. But as far as REITs are concerned, their rules and regulations are, shall I say, a little more fair. I won't say they're fair, but they're definitely more fair than ours.
So can I invest into the REITs?
That's up to you. I never tell you to do anything.
No, I'm just asking. I mean, can anybody,
Yeah, it's an asset class. Yes, in the US or in India, you can. There are some REITs that are listed on the stock market. So at least to some degree, when you don't like it, you can just exit, cut your losses and go.
Okay.
And you can buy in the stock market and sell in the stock market. It is a degree of freedom that closed REITs do not offer.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Welcome. Hari, go ahead.
My question, Uncle, is what is in this mutual funds? You listed 3 to 4 different types: equity, money market, hedge, commodity, and so on. So I wanted to understand what is the difference between all of them.
Oh, it's just that the fund is dedicated to investing in a category of assets. But the fund itself is listed in the stock market. So it is listed equity mutual funds.
Okay.
Now, it can be on companies. It can be, there are money market mutual funds listed. If you go to your brokerage and then search mutual funds, they will give you a big list. It will go into 5 pages sometimes.
Mhm.
Okay, or you go to commodity, this thing. There are mutual funds that operate on commodities. So to that extent, you are, what shall I say, liquid. See, one of the key things about the stock market, see, if you are getting a very high interest in a fixed deposit, inevitably they'll say you cannot close the deposit. You can take a loan against the deposit, or in, what shall I say, extreme medical emergency, they allow you to close it. Take, for example, the government bonds. Some of the government bonds you cannot close. You cannot close. In fact, the capital gains bonds, 54 EC bonds as they are called, issued by the government through 2 or 3 outlets. One is, which I have usually used, is the IRFC, Indian Railway Financial Corporation. So this is a separate corporation from the Indian Railways, but its only mandate is to give money to the Indian Railways. So government raises money saying, oh, you want to escape capital gains? All right, invest in this. Now this bond, for example, my mother-in-law had such a bond. She passed away and they wouldn't close it. And in fact, to get it transferred to my wife's name, who was the nominee for that thing, it took me, all my wits to get it transferred. They make it nearly impossible. And it's held in demat form, but it won't show up in your demat statement. You have to ask the bank. Say, give me a demat statement that includes my 54 EC bond. And that's how I came to know that it was even there in her account. And then that's how I came to know that the nominee was my wife. So, see, it is ridiculous. This is the way. And then Sitaraman says we are having a drive. What drive? To release unclaimed money of the public in fixed deposits and bonds. They make it impossible. And then they say, I am having a drive. Arey Baba. So I wrote to her. I said, ma'am, what is this? Immediately, State Bank of India people were on the job. They called me and the damn thing happened. Now, are you going to go to the finance minister for everything? Is that what we want to do? Come on. So, you need to be very careful about it. So, Hari, what is there any part of your question unanswered?
No, just the difference, equity, I believe, is just shares. Money market, I understand it as foreign exchange and currency trading. And hedging, I don't understand. And commodities, as you mentioned, was, I think, things like futures and options.
Correct. Commodity is rice, wheat, gold, iron, copper, silver, but you can't buy it and store it. Like I was telling John. But you have mutual funds who will do it for you. And these mutual funds will have accounts with companies that specialize in storing oil, that specialize in storing gold, that specialize for you. Get my point? And some of these banks have their own also.
Okay.
Is it clear now?
Yeah. And a hedge fund would be something that bets against any particular trend in the market, for or against.
Are you correct? Is the dollar going to fall? Because I
Mhm.
have customers who are paying me in dollars.
Mhm.
So I may take a hedge against the dollar through these specialists who offer such hedges.
Okay.
For us, it is beyond our, it is beyond my interest.
No, this is just for my understanding of what
Yeah,
each category
that is
has.
why I put it here, because suddenly your relationship manager will say, "Sir, why don't you put 10 lakhs in this?"
Mhm.
So you should know what you're doing.
Mhm. Understood. Okay.
Okay, Hari?
Yeah.
Please mute yourself. Go ahead, Sumita.
Sir, what is passive and active ETF?
Ah. See, ETF tracks the index of a particular domain or industry or segment or whatever you want to call it. Okay. Now, there are two. One is a totally mechanized, that means robotic version of it, where every minute the robot of the fund keeps checking the prices of the constituents of the index. As it goes up or as it goes down, the volumes go up or down, the weightages change, it automatically buys or sells that much in the fund. That is a passive. No human being comes in between. The active ETFs are where a portfolio fund manager takes decisions. Now, he will not take minute by minute decisions. So the level to which the price chart or the unit value chart of the fund of the ETF tracks its index can vary. Sometimes the manager may take a call, no, it's all right. If this goes down, don't dump it, keep it, we'll buy something else to compensate. So he has discretion in the matter. The passive fund, there is no discretion in the matter. It's computers buying and selling. So that they stay as close as possible to the index that they are tracking. Okay, मतलब ये concession दिया मेरे को.
No, so how to
I-
differentiate
I-
like this bond, ETF bond is active, this is passive?
That you in your brokerage, you search passive ETF, Nifty ETF passive, and you will get some list.
Okay.
Nifty ETF active. Your broker will tell you all that, Baba. You
Okay.
कुछ तो काम करना पड़ता है, सुनीता.
Yes.
You can Google it. They'll give you a list. It's all public domain.
Okay, thank you, sir.
No, I got the thank you. Did you get it?
Yes, sir.
All right. I got it करके बोलने में कोई दिक्कत है क्या सुनीता?
नहीं सर.
बोलो ना, तो मेरे को सेटिस्फैक्शन होगा कि भाई ठीक है, एक तो सवाल मैंने सॉल्व किया.
I got it, sir.
Thank you. Please mute yourself. Can I go ahead? Anybody
Yes,
else? Anything? Sumita Dubey again. क्या है?
नहीं sir, I am trying to lower hand. Yeah.
हो गया? Mute करो, mute. Okay, I'm going to proceed. It's 10 to 8, so I want to, because I've still got a little more. I'm going to talk about financial goals. This is one exercise that will put you to sleep before your dinner. Because you know why? Sumita, you know why? Because it will make your brain work. That is what human beings hate. And they think their brain is working when they have thoughts in their brain. my brain is working. No. So this will put you to sleep. Try not to sleep. First, goals everybody understands. Categorize them as short, medium, and long term. In fact, I would say long and very long term also. That's the first thing you must do. If you don't do it, don't take my word for it that you will be lost. Somewhere in the course of your investments, you'll be lost. You will either start chasing your tail to work a 9 to 5 job and totally forget about your hard-earned money, which is lying in stocks or whatever. Should I sell and buy back, or should I just keep quiet? How will you answer that question? It can only be answered based on your goals. So categorize them. Each goal needs to have a reason. The French term raison d'être. You must state it in the goal. Write it. You will forget it, I'm telling you. So take a Word document, open my goals, and then just write it. Then look at once you've finished, once you've come to a point where you can't think of any real worthwhile goals, look at the goals and discard all minor goals. See, with long-term investing, you don't do you want to buy a new car, so you will need certain EMI. Put it in your Excel sheet. There is no unforeseen expense there. So you say, okay, I have to build a kitty of 5 lakhs before I can get a loan to buy a 20 lakh car. Okay, 5 lakh EMI, you can use Google to work out the EMI, given your banks, or ask your bank, they'll tell you, put it into your Excel sheet and say so much per month I will save. Automatically, no pain, you'll buy a car. Discard all minor goals. Include goals like children's education in short, medium, and long-term categories as applicable, if any. Then the most important one. If you are going to have more than 5 financial goals, I can only say you're highly confused. So prioritize them and throw out number 6 and onwards. Prioritize them and throw out number 6 and onwards. And each and every goal must have a rupee value and a timeline. Rupee value can be 20 lakhs, 3 years, 20 lakhs, 1 year, 20 lakhs, 20 years. That's up to you. But you put a rupee figure and a timeline to it. That means the goal is defined. You can't change it every time you want to shift the goalpost. There will be a review of goals that comes in the advanced course. Any questions? Everybody? Nobody's asleep? Okay. I don't know. Rajshekhar may be asleep. Also Deepa Naran. Deepa, sorry. The light is, I can't see you because of the backlight. Okay. It's all right. Don't worry. Yeah, Rajnikant, sir.
Sir, you said 5 goals. So are we talking about 5 in short term, 5 in the medium, and 5 in the long term, or overall?
5 total.
Overall 5 goals. Okay.
See, no one can concentrate on 50 goals.
Yes, sir.
It's impossible. I mean, given the time you have between your job and your domestic duties, I'm wondering whether you will have any time to concentrate even on one goal. Goals are easily forgotten because why? There is no immediate today consequence.
Right.
But when the consequence comes, everybody will cry.
Yes, sir.
5 total goals.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Mahesh,
Sir, what is the second point, sir? Like each goals need to have a reason to state it. I couldn't get it.
why are you, what is the reason you have that goal? Take an example in your case. Tell us one.
Safety, future safety actually. Like
Future safety is not a goal.
uh, to avoid some any surprises in the future, like some for example, like children's education or marriage. So
Not a, why is that an example? It should be a goal. अरे देखो पढ़ के जो देखो इधर. Read what I have written. Include goals like children's education in short, medium, and long-term categories as applicable. Now, supposing you have a son, and let's say your son is interested in becoming an engineer. So the long term, and let us say he is right now in standard 10 or 12. Are you going to start saying standard 10 schooling, medium, this thing, that thing? I will say just put the thing that I need to have 20 lakhs of rupees to ensure that my son gets engineering college, gets through engineering college. Full stop. That will obviously cover the medium and short term. If
understand.
you, yeah, you know, safety, future safety, I'm sorry, it's not a goal. Why? It doesn't have a rupee figure and it doesn't have a timeline. Which is the last point, underlined in bold.
Yes, sir. Sir,
Hmm.
and I have one more question. Like, is this right to buying like the medical health insurance policies, or keeping some surplus money for to face this kind of issues? Because like putting money in this insurance is not going like uh, anyhow I need to pay again in the next year. So
Yeah. So, incidentally, you asked a question which I have practiced. 25 years ago, I stopped health insurance. 25 or maybe even more years ago, I stopped health insurance. I have a portfolio for my health insurance, for my health expenses. And it is worth hell of a lot more than any bloody insurance company would give me. Why? Because they take my money and do the same thing, but they will keep the profits and only tell me why my application is rejected. It happened to me once. My mother at that time had to go through a bypass. And when we went to the hospital and gave her card and all that, the back came, no, rejected. Okay? Now here is this thing where I have to get my mother operated. And here comes the reply saying it's rejected. What do I do? That day I decided, throw this rubbish out. Someone said, no, you call this person, he has influence, that guy will tell you, and then you will get your insurance. Arey Baba, this is my money. So I started my portfolio for health. Today, my health portfolio, I just walk in, get admitted, and swipe my card. Finished. That's all. No questions asked. If you read my goals, you'll be shocked.
Can you share, sir, if you can?
It's secret.
Okay.
No, okay, I'll share. Since you asked, I'll share. But I want to be future safe is not a goal. I also want to be, I have been future safe for some time, and I want to be totally future safe for another 40 years. Uske pehle to, I think God will give me a call. Health insurance is the stupidest thing, the best way to loot people. Anyway, if you have health insurance, you please put the premium in the Excel sheet. Annual premium maybe divide by 12 and put it as monthly. Let that money not be spent by you. That's the purpose of budgeting. You can put all that money and open a fixed deposit in the bank, 3%, 4%, 5%, 7% interest. It's okay. In future, you won't even get that interest. I'll tell you that also. Anyway, did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. But I have one last question, sir. Like, already you have the ICICI and HDFC platforms. Based on like your goals category, you are handling the two demat accounts, or like you said, like you created a separate portfolio for.
Yeah. I used to do that, but now I do it a little differently. Different stocks are in different bookmarks. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Different stocks, their charts are in different bookmarks. So it is a virtual portfolio, separate portfolio. But in practice, if I go into my broker, ICICI or HDFC, see, I had ICICI, I had HDFC, I had Kotak, I had Zerodha, I had that Demat Corporation or whatever. What is that? Hindustan Demat or something that I ditched long ago. And I found this ridiculous. I can't monitor all of them. What's the point? And I sit for monitoring my portfolio once a month. Different portfolios, of course. There are some portfolios I will look even once a week. And there will be 5-7 stocks in them. Just to be sure, that's why I scan the macro level very carefully. I read the newspapers very carefully. What do I look for in the newspaper? Is there any negative news about any of the stocks I own? First, I eliminate that. Then I go into, I don't read Bollywood gossip. I don't read any of that stuff ever. I don't have the time for that. I have better things to do. So I don't now do it that way. I simply track them separately. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's clear.
Okay. All right. Mahesh, over?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thanks a lot, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Chalo. Yeah. I have Rajshekhar. Rajshekhar, if you don't put on your video ever, this is not okay. I'm asking you to go ahead, but you please fix this issue.
Sure, sir. Sure.
By next session, huh? Go ahead.
Sure,
What's your question? Question?
Actually, I am working in IT company. So initially, this LIC agents were told to invest amount in ATC. So for that, for my daughters, I have invested monthly premium of 4 to 5 policies. So now I am feeling that would, it will become after 21 years, which will be return rate of interest 7 to 8%. So now I have realized that mutual fund also I have started investing, but without a goal. So I don't know how to continue, whether can I stop the LIC and then can I go ahead with the mutual fund investment? So little bit confusion over here. So which one to choose, LIC or mutual fund?
I will never tell you which one to choose, but I will tell you the pros and cons.
Okay.
And I will ask a question back. Why is it either? Why not?
Sorry, sir, come again.
So you're not audible.
Can you hear now?
Not now.
अरे यार.
अभी ठीक है. No,
No, sir.
no, sir.
Not audible?
Now audible.
Ah. It's telling me wind up, wind up. That's why it's going on. And my phone also went ting, 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 saying wind up. Okay. So, sorry, can you repeat the question? I lost track. Rajshekar,
Yes, sir.
Rajshekar, the question you asked me is, should I do LIC or should I do mutual fund or should I do equity?
Yes, sir.
Right. See, that's called listening. Now, why is it or, why is it not and for you?
Based on the initially it's supposed to be a goal, but the goal is in terms of return. The outcome is a result. So by comparing these two, the un become R.
How do you know that the returns are what you think they are in equity and mutual fund?
Based on the current market situation, like by comparing in last 2 years, 3 years charts in the mutual fund app.
In the next 2-3 years, supposing the returns of equity plummet, they drop like, dodo, because let us say Modi wants re-election and he has a small war with China. Then what will you do?
At last, I will be in deep trouble because the LIC also started investing our money into a mutual fund.
So in short,
Yes, sir.
what control do you have on the returns you're going to get in any of them? Rajshekar. Hello. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir, but I think
Rajshekhar's connection has dropped, I think. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else? No. So let's go. I want to wind up. So we are in the wind up part of the session. We are already exceeded time that I budgeted, but that's how this course goes. Can't help it. First things first, in the next session, you must have completed your budgeting exercise. No excuses. After the next session, I won't take any questions or, on the budgeting. Please. So download the template I shared. Please open it. You have any questions, ask in our group. We have an exclusive group with only people registered in that group, so that it's not public knowledge. You can ask questions. Don't feel shy. Unless you ask, you're not going to learn. Right. Finally, Final couple of minutes. Any burning desire to ask any questions, burning desire to share, burning desire about anything? Go ahead, Bhavna ji.
So how to become like you?
Like me, I'm a man, you're a good-looking young girl. Arey,
Sir, मैं
please
आपके
don't
जैसे
become
बनना-
like me.
सर मैं आपके जैसे बनना चाहती हूँ, बताइए.
I do a course, Bhavna, called 12-step course in effectiveness in life. It is one of the, let's say, a course जहां पे वो गन्ने को क्या करते हैं ना, वो मशीन के अंदर डालते हैं,
फिर
3
डालते
बार
हैं.
4 बार 5 बार सब जूस निकल जाता है.
हाँ.
That गन्ने का machine loses when compared to my course. But then I promise you, what you learn, because what you will learn is you will learn about yourself. It's not about, you can go to any course and learn this chart, that chart, this operation, this basket, this thing, that thing. You can give it, you can Google it, YouTube, all of that will teach you. But my 12-step course in effectiveness, you'll never forget. Impossible. How come when you ask me that question, my first question to you back was, क्या आप सो के अभी उठे क्या? That is the level of awareness of another person that the course gives. Some of them, some of us here have done that, 1 or 2 or 3. But I can only say that you keep practicing and keep interacting in the group. See, I see that, 1, 2 people are interacting in the group. To me, I say, what a waste of opportunity. यार मेरे को कोई ऐसा देता पहले, I would have learned this long ago. I've learned it the hard way. Now I want to share it so that you don't have to go through the hard way. And I don't charge for any course of mine, by the way, no matter what the course is. तो वो करोगे ना, then you will not become like me. You will become 100x of what you currently are.
Yes, sir.
That's what you'll become. You don't want to become like me. Why should you become like me? Come on.
सर आप इतने तो लर्नर्ड हो, अपनी चीजों का आपको पूरा, यू हैव अ पूरा कंप्लीट अवेयरनेस ऑफ योर वॉट एवर यू आर डूइंग इट. आपको मार्केट का इतना नॉलेज है, बिजनेस का इतना है, वर्ड की अवेयरनेस इतनी है. सर मुझे लग रहा है मैंने अपनी जिंदगी में कुछ करा ही नहीं, बर्बाद हो गई मेरी जिंदगी.
नहीं,
टाइम्स आई फील
you are so young. क्या बर्बाद हुई? ऐसे मत बात करो.
मुझे लगता है कि कुछ नहीं करा मैंने अपनी लाइफ में.
तो अभी तो शुरू करो ना. When I told you, anyway, ठीक है, Bhavna, that's a conversation for another day.
Yes,
Maybe
sir.
one of these days I'll decide, because there have been quite a few people saying, no, sir, you have to hold a conversation. And that is only, it's best held on a 3-day weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, face to face. But, at my age, I have lost the physical stamina, because right through the 3 days, I'll be standing and talking. गला चले गया अभी, ये सब खाता हूं ना, इसलिए पता है ये थोड़ा. See, I also like my indulgence. I'm another human being. 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 nose, and a mouth. Same as you. Chalo. I'm wondering how many people are interested in looking at my financial goals. Hand raise, virtual hand raise only. Virtual only. Okay. Okay. Majority are there. There are some people who are thoroughly disinterested. Arey. Okay. Let's do one thing. I will.
Yes, that is because your financial goals are already seen for us.
Sanjay.
We are actually seeing it on your screen, and you're asking people to raise, it is already visible.
Okay. Fair enough, Sanjay. Okay. But all my goals are very, 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 very long term, spanning the rest of my life. Now, I cannot put a timeline because only God knows the date. Okay. So I must cover all major medical expenses as and when they occur, opting for the best treatment without flinching at the cost in my whole lifetime. By the way, I'm ready for that. Cover all major living expenses. Now, Sanjay takes a large part of my living expenses away from me. He won't tell you, but with ultra liquid assets for the next 40 years. I think I'll survive 40 years or less. So मैंने बोला चलो upper limit लगा दो. Cover all my travel plans for the next 20 years. I think I should be able to travel. You know, we're planning New Zealand and Fiji. We went. New Zealand, Australia to gaya hai, but we want to go to China and Japan. And then I want to go to another tour of East Africa, which unfortunately may not be stable. But then I want to leave enough for my wife if I pre-decease her. Matlab main pehle gaya, so it should be so that she can live a carefree living and medical needs during her whole lifetime. Have fun without flinching at the expenses. Folks, you know, when I actually made these goals, I started with about 60 goals, by the way. I have 5. These are worthwhile. For me, they are worthwhile. In fact, in my will, I have written various charities that I have identified. John will know one. I've written very sizable amounts in my will after taking care of this side. Why? Because at that time I started, see, there's one great thing they teach you at IIM Ahmedabad. If you don't know where you want to go, you're going to end up going nowhere. Matlab goal nahi hoga, so kahan, you will reach somewhere, wherever, time and tide takes you. You won't even try to reach your goal. Then you'll say, "Arey, barbad ho gaya." And then you will feel diffident and you will feel bad. Ki bhai, how much I wasted my life. No, there is no waste in life, by the way. In life's economy, there is no waste at all. Every experience is worth it, provided you are willing to learn from those experiences. So, Mahesh, I think, asked me. Mahesh, say thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Okay. Chalo. Time to end the session. Dear friends, really, I liked the session. I don't know about you, but I do hope that you enjoyed it. Whether you gained some knowledge or not, keep coming back. It works. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, sir.